Okay, and we'll park right here on West Street by the Bristol Town Green.
Bristol, Vermont is a picturesque New England town for sure. Between the town green, the white steepled church, the cute little shops, it's got it all.
Yeah, it does. Hey, you seem a little antsy there, Ray?
Yeah, I really need to find a bathroom before we start poking around town.
Okay, well, yeah, it was a long drive up here for sure. Well, the good news is you're in luck. West Street is full of outhouses.
Great, but I don't see any.
Yeah, that's the bad news. We're a little early. They all come out for the town's annual 4th of July parade. We've come to Bristol, Vermont to experience the Outhouse races. Hi, I'm Jeff Belanger.
And I'm Ray Auger. Welcome to episode 242 of the New England Legends podcast. If you give us about 15 minutes, we'll give you something strange to talk about today.
Thank you for joining us on our mission to chronicle every legend in New England, one story at a time. We love finding the haunted, the out of this world, or the just plain weird that makes New England unique. We're a community of seekers of the strange, and we don't just meet here on the podcast each week. You should also join our super secret New England Legends Facebook group, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts, because it's free. And we don't want you to miss a thing.
Now, before we go searching for some outhouses in Bristol, Vermont, we want to take just a minute to tell you about our sponsor, Nuati Herbals.
Ray, you know that Nuati Herbals has so many great teas for every part of your life.
They do.
Teas to help you drift off to sleep, like their Cloud Walking Tea, the Healer Tea for when you're under the weather, Storyteller Tea for when you need a little extra focus. But Nuati Herbals also has tea for when you see the outhouse, you want to use it, but you just can't. Nuati Herbals founder Rod Jackson explains.
Things not moving like they should. Nuati Herbals can help you answer that age-old question, what does a bear do in the woods? Drink our gentle laxative tea, Bear in the Woods, and you'll find out.
Yes, you will. Nuati Herbals also has TPT to help support a healthy bladder. And like all their teas, it's made with all natural ingredients.
You know, Ray, I'm sensing a theme this week as we explore Vermont looking for racing outhouses.
You may be right.
Let Nuati Herbals help support your healthy lifestyle. Check out the Nuati Herbals website to see all their great products, and you get 20% off your order when you use the promo code LEGENDS20 at checkout. Visit NuatiHerbals.com. That's Nuwati, herbals with an S.com.
All right, Jeff. So Bristol, Vermont holds outhouse races?
They do. And they've been holding these races every year since 1980.
Wow.
That's more than 4 decades that they've been racing outhouses in town.
I guess New England has New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon, and now we're learning we also have West Street in Bristol.
Yeah, you know, the speeds and scale may be a little different, but the stakes are still very high.
I can imagine the bragging rights alone on winning an outhouse race must be huge.
Yeah, you bet. So I think we're going to need a little help on this adventure, so we called in a ringer.
My name is Cameron Perta. I am a teacher at Otter Valley Union High School, and I have competed in the Bristol Outhouse race.
He didn't just compete. In 2019, his team was the winner. Then he lost in 2020, but came back last year ready to reclaim his throne.
Oh, I get it. Cam grew up in Lincoln, Vermont, which is the next town over from Bristol, but he went to high school in Bristol, so he's a local guy. He ran his first outhouse race in 2015. Cam, how'd you do with that first race?
We lost very badly. We came off the line, and we did not have the right movement paradigm established. And so we started to go, and the outhouse, it's on wheels, as you know, and the outhouse did a full 180 from the jump because we had a kind of uneven force on it. And so we never even really started to compete.
Cam is a competitive guy. He's a coach. He plays sports, but all year long, he keeps at least part of his mind on the annual outhouse race.
I'm a pretty active and fit guy. I go to the gym, I play basketball, yada, yada, yada. But beyond a shadow of a doubt, outhouse race is the most physically grueling thing I do all year without question, not even close. I ran so hard and pushed myself so much that I threw up after the race.
All my life, I've only known outhouses to just sit there. They serve their purpose. They're emptied, and we all move on with our lives. Sure, sometimes the most awkward prank can happen when someone tips one over. But I've never heard of racing them.
Well, there's a lot to discover on how we got to this moment, Ray. So let's head back to 1980 and see how it all got started. It's early July of 1980. Jimmy Carter is president. Call Me by Blondie and Funky Town by Lips Incorporated are all over the radio. And here in Bristol, Vermont, a new tradition is about to be born.
Enter Larry Gile. Gile is a Bristol local who's heard about outhouse races taking place in other parts of the country. There was one in Canada that ran for a while, about 10 years, in the early 1970s. Gile wants to bring that type of race here, so he organizes the event. The big question is, will anyone want to participate?
Gile comes up with the rules. Each team has to construct an outhouse that resembles the traditional, one-holer. Teams will consist of 5 people. One of them has to sit in the outhouse as the passenger, while the other 4 push and pull the outhouse around the Bristol town green.
Now, it's important to note that the rules also state that the outhouses need to be on 4 caster wheels, the kind that swivel 360 degrees, like you might see on a pallet in a warehouse or something like that.
Oh, yeah, sure. But I wonder why caster wheels?
Gile likes the caster wheels because they're harder to control.
Okay, all right, I love that.
There's a few entries for the July 4th race. It's a novelty, a laugh, but locals want to see it.
July 4th is a big deal in Bristol. There's a parade, there's picnics and games. It's something the whole town comes out to see. And this year, they can add an outhouse race to the lineup.
There's a team that calls themselves the Unknowns. They hijacked an outhouse from nearby Starksboro. The problem with their outhouse is that the floor had rotted away, so they flipped the outhouse on its roof and mounted the casters there. Then there's the Water Closet Blues Band with their setup, and Bud House, some beer buddies who built their own entry.
The race route is 1 lap around the Bristol town green. It's about 1,350 feet, or a quarter of a mile, around the green along North Street, Park Street, down a lane to West Street. And there are hundreds of people lined up to watch this spectacle.
There they go.
This is hilarious. But, man, they're really hustling out there.
Oh, it looks like the Water Closet Blues Band is pulling ahead.
And the Water Closet Blues Band is the winner.
Throughout the July 4th party in Bristol, folks can't stop talking about the outhouse race. It would seem a tradition was just born.
Now, from here, we're going to leap ahead just 1 year to July 4th, 1981. Larry Gile is still in charge of the outhouse races, but this year there are 14 teams who have each paid $10 per team to enter. The Water Closet Blues Band is back to defend their title. There's a team called Phew, there's Honey Bucket, and the all-women team called Royal Flush.
There's prize money for the winners, too. In addition to the entry fee, people bet on the teams, and all of the money goes to a local charity. Gile realizes that you can't have 14 teams racing at once. They'd kill each other out there when they collide. So they'll have to run in heats. And each heat is do or die. Win, you move on. Lose, you're out.
Some of the outhouse designs are totally awesome. I mean, these folks are going through a lot of trouble. The Royal Flush looks like a playing card on the side, and the captain's holding a toilet plunger. Others have guitars mounted on the side, and then there's the Night Train Express team. Now, the problem with their outhouse is that they've mounted handles on the sides of the outhouse for the runners to hold on to. Judge David Henderson quickly steps in.
Judge Henderson points out that the handles are in violation of the rules. He also points out that the judges can absolutely be bribed to look the other way. But there have been no good offers yet, so the handles are removed before the race.
And this race is already starting to earn nicknames. The favorite I overheard is the Dysentery Derby.
It looks like the outhouses are in place.
Okay.
And the race begins.
Heat after heat competes until the finals. The Water Closet Blues Band is still alive and poised to repeat. Turns out there's no substitute for experience, and the Water Closet Blues Band has it all. They finished the race in a record-breaking 1 minute and 24.7 seconds. And that brings us back to today. So the Barre, Vermont Times-Argus newspaper quoted Larry Gile back in 1981. When asked what the point of this whole thing is, he said, quote, "Some teams have fun saying they've pulled an outhouse around the park. Not too many people can lay claim to that." But then he added, "Of course, There's not too many that may want to.
For more than 4 decades, this race has been happening every July 4th. It's only gotten bigger and more organized. In fact, now the town of Bristol supplies the racing outhouses, which are basically 3-foot by 3-foot frames on platforms with caster wheels. The teams are no longer 5 people. They're now 3, 1 rider and 2 people pushing or pulling. And you get your outhouse frame the day before the race.
Okay, let's bring back Cam Perta as we get ready to hear about the 2021 Outhouse race.
The town provides the outhouses because it's kind of a big to-do about outhouse modifications. They don't want to release them too soon because they don't want teams to make an unfair advantage. So what usually happens, the town has them, prepares them, and then you only have access to them like the day before the race.
In addition to decorating your outhouse, it's also a good idea to practice because you need to get the hang of the way it moves. You need to push and pull just right. Plus, and this is a pro tip from Cam, where you are in the street matters. The road has a crown to it. All roads do, so water and ice slide to the sides. If you're right in the middle, that's the sweet spot. If you're on either side of the middle, you need to contend with a slight angle.
Also, the race course is no longer around the park. It now starts at the crosswalk in front of St. Ambrose Catholic Church on West Street and finishes about 500 feet later at the traffic light at the North Street intersection. The shorter race means more racers and heats are available, and as we said earlier, it's a very big deal.
So it's July 4th, 2021. Cam Perta and his team are getting ready for the big race. They've decorated their outhouse with a local theme, some stickers from local businesses and shops. But their focus is on speed, not frills. Cam, tell us about your team.
I'm a teacher. I actually had one of my former students, Hayden Bernhardt, come run on our team. And his girlfriend, Gracie Coolidge, was our rider.
So we should set the July 4th, 2021 scene. There's a lot of people gathered along the street to watch the outhouse races. The local news is here. Television news affiliates are here. People are live streaming the race. There's a lot of folks betting on the race for charity. And all eyes are on you. Sure, I know it sounds silly. I mean, this isn't the Olympics. But in a town like Bristol, win this thing and you're a celebrity for the day. You can brag for a year. People take it seriously. People like Cam Perta and his team.
Cam, how does race day start for you?
I'll give you my whole pregame routine. All right, so I wake up, and usually race day, I have a little weight room in my house. I start off with some light squats, kind of get the blood flow going, the body ready to go. So I get up, do some squats, ready to go, and then the nerves kick in. I usually stay in Bristol on race day. So I walk from my house in Bristol, and I go to the Bristol bakery for a little pregame fuel. Oatmeal, water, banana. That's what I do. And I walk there, and then I run to the race start line. Get the blood flowing. Race doesn't start until about 8 o'clock. I'm usually fueled up, done my squats, done a quick pregame run, 7:30 easily, ready to go.
And now there's nothing but time and nerves until the race starts. You need to wait for your heat to get called. You know each race is do or die. Win your heat, you move on. Lose your heat, and you're out. Cam Perta is ready to retake his throne as Outhouse race champion.
First, you look out over all the distance with the cover, which is overwhelming. And then you look at all the people that are there, and you're like, oh my God.
It's time for the first race. There are 8 teams in 2021, and each race is head-to-head. You must win to go on. The first race is against one of his best friends.
A lot of trash talk going on, really bragging rights for the year. And so we step up there, Hayden, Gracie, and I come through, win the first one. Yes.
So they take care of business in that first race and win by a hair. They get to move on. Still, it's exhausting. But now they have to recover because the next race is happening in just 10 minutes.
And there's a reason I go with oatmeal and bananas and water before to fuel up properly. I know also if I do throw it up, it's easy coming out.
But breakfast so far is staying down. But still, he's got to lie down if he's going to have the strength for the next race. 10 minutes goes by quickly. It's not enough recovery time, but too bad. It's time for that second heat.
Second heat, we were playing, I remember this very clearly, we were racing against some of the varsity soccer players at Mount. Good athletes, fast. I actually coached them in soccer, fast kids. But we got lucky in this one. The nerves are still there, and here's experience kind of kicked in a little bit. These guys, first time racing, and they get going and immediately go off course. So not much drama there. The first one we won by a sliver, right? Head to head, close matchup, right? This one though, never was close. They went off course right away, and that was it.
So Cam and his team luck their way into the finals on this one.
So this is it, the final heat. Win, and you're a champion for a year. Lose, and it's over. No chance for redemption for a whole other year. They approach the starting line.
I'm nervous about this one. And not because of the usual reason I want to do a good job. I'm nervous I might lose this one. They're looking fast. They're looking strong. And so pregame, I'm looking at them like, man, like we've got to really dig for this one. And then the legs are already feeling like jello. We get to the line, and a bad thing happens. But unfortunately, we're never really in the mix. So with the outhouse race, like it's hard to overcome a team. You know, we did it in 2019, came from behind, but that's not the norm. You want to be ahead, stay ahead. That's how you win. Off the line, we're beaten. You know, we're already behind from the jump, and I'm digging and digging and digging and digging till there's nothing left. And visually, it was a close race, but as someone with experience in the event and who was in it himself, they got ahead, stayed ahead, and we never had a chance to really challenge them. And then at the end, you know, I pushed myself to the point where I could barely stand, and I collapsed onto the grass. And then I threw up in the grass.
So ultimately, you came in second place?
Yes, sir. Second place.
So it's fair to say you finished number 2 in the 2021 Outhouse race.
Yeah, number 2. Yep.
I mean, it is kind of epic to finish number 2 in an outhouse race.
That is a pretty good prize, right? So, you know who's number 1 in our book? Our Patreon patrons. For just $3 per month, you get early access to new episodes, plus bonus episodes and content that no one else gets to hear. These are folks who help us with all of our ongoing costs of bringing you a great new episode each and every week. If you'd like to join our inner circle, please head over to patreon.com/New England Legends to sign up.
Also, be sure to tell a friend or two about us. Share your favorite episode on social media. You are how our community grows.
We'd like to thank our sponsor, Nuwadi Herbals. Thank you to Cam Perta for being our guest this week. If you'd like to see some photos and videos of the Bristol, Vermont outhouse races, head over to our website. Click on episode 242. And of course, our theme music is by John Judd.
I want to do this. I want to bring it to Milford.
The New England Legends.
We should do it, yeah.
Well, what? Well, of course we would.
This is awesome. I mean, I'm always in my community. We started the 4th of July parade a few years ago, and I'm always looking for new and crazy ideas to help build up the community here.
Yeah.
And this is it.
So when I started working on this research, I found Cam Perta, and there's been a lot of articles written about him because he's competed so many times, and he never won until 2019. And so he was always like this perennial underdog. He's a local teacher. Yeah. Everybody knows him and likes him, local guy, you know, and so you're rooting for him. And so I basically found the school he teaches at. I reached out because I'm like, if we don't have him, I don't know if we have a story.
You want to get it firsthand.
Right.
I get that.
So he gets back to me right away, and he's like, oh, absolutely, I'm in. You picked the right guy.
It's probably a guy that enjoys the attention, talking about himself.
Every
right?
part of it.
Yeah.
Every part of it. He likes the race.
My kind of guy.
Absolutely. Our kind of guy, for sure. And so he was so fun to talk to about just the enthusiasm and, you know, talking about like how serious he takes his fitness and thinks about this all year long, right? Like this is the most grueling thing he does because you give it all. I mean, you know, he plays basketball, but there's not hundreds and hundreds of people in media like watching you play basketball.
Eyes and cameras all on you.
Yeah. And so, but what's cool is I called the local library and I'm like, hey, we're trying to find out how this thing started, you know? And everyone's like, I don't know. I mean, when something's been going on for over 40 years, you sort of lose the beginning story.
It just happens. That's it.
So thankfully, we have the newspaper archives, and I was able to find articles from 1981 that talked about like the previous year's race and how now it's gotten bigger as the second year, and in 1982 they talked about the third one, and it's just a perennial media favorite, right? And of course it is, and it's just the thing that everybody knows in town. Cam even said at one point, it wasn't in the episode, but he's like, I heard a rumor it used to be around the green, that the race used to go around the entire green, and I'm like, that's true. That was it. That we found that in the newspaper articles. And so, and I think what it comes down to is, you know, you had a local guy who'd heard about outhouse races in Canada or somewhere and said, well, let's try him here. I mean, maybe people would want to do that. And it took off. And I love when you've got something just unique and weird, and everyone's like, this is ridiculous. Make sure we do this every year.
It's so ridiculous, it just might work.
It's so silly. Like, we are going to commit to this. And when I was in high school, Newtown High School, Connecticut, we had a thing around homecoming where they would paint a grid on the football field.
Oh, I know where you're going.
You know where
we
I'm
did
going.
This too.
Yeah, like lots of schools did this.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is like, our friends listening in the cities are going to be like, what? So our school, you would buy a square, one of the 100 squares, whatever it was. Money went to charity, to local boosters or whatever. And then they would put a cow on the football field.
Yep.
And we wait.
And people would watch and wait and cheer the cow on. Like, you would stand near your square.
Come over this way, Bessie.
Exactly, yeah.
And then you wait and wait until the cow poops.
Yep.
And the cow would poop, and everyone would race out to the poop. Because, by the way, if it fell on a line, like, you literally, was it more in this square?
There's measurements involved.
You might have to get out the butter knife and start cutting and being like, okay, this square had this many ounces and this, and the winner gets, there's prize money, and then, money, of course, goes to charity. And so I remember being like, you're from a small town when you're betting on where a cow poops.
Yeah. I think we grew up in the same exact town, different states.
Right. So, but you had that too, right?
Yeah, we had it. Spencer was the regional town, right?
Yeah.
East Brookfield, East Brookfield was so small that we did it in Spencer. Does that make sense? Like, East Brookfield was almost too small for that. We had to bring it to the big city of Spencer, and that was enough for Spencer. So it was just weird. That's how small my town was.
Yeah. And I remember we would go to the Bridgewater, this is Bridgewater, Connecticut, county fair every summer, which is fun, like carnival rides and stuff.
We had the Spencer Fair, which is still going on.
Did you have ox pull?
Of course we did.
Yeah.
We had a stunt show when I was a kid. Like, actual stunt cars flipping and going through hoops of fire.
Did anyone die?
No, but I'm surprised. I'm
that's too
surprised
bad.
because I was in the front row watching cars like 10 feet in front of me on two wheels. And I remember that well. And then I think that was too dangerous. We had Demolition Derby.
Yeah.
All that fun stuff.
Well, where's that, right? Where did they go?
It's just...
Yeah.
Lawsuits.
We got soft.
Yeah, we really did.
Imagine the 4-inch thick waivers you'd have to sign to do a Demolition Derby today. Like, I could die, I won't sue. Like, parts could fly out.
But that's small town for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the ox pulls at the county fair, I remember that, where you just hook oxen up to weight.
Yeah.
And see how far they could pull it.
Same thing as a tractor pull, but with oxen.
There was the tractor pull was there too. But you just cheer for whatever, and you're like, this is amazing, you know? And we felt like so urban. We're like, ox pull. We're from Newtown. we bet on where cows poop.
Again, we were the country bumpkins going to the big city to watch oxen be pulled.
It's great. It's great. So anyway, I love this. I love that, so Bristol, Vermont now has this thing that, and by the way, they call themselves the longest running 4th of July parade.
Okay.
Which, whenever someone asks them to sort of prove it, they just kind of say like, it's the longest running.
Just trust us.
Yeah, trust us. And the other thing too, I was thinking, so the way the race works today is there's still an entry fee. You have a team, and the town provides the outhouses, so they're all the same. Like they're kept in storage, and they're just frames, 3 foot by 3 foot, and I think 60 inches tall. But it's open frames, and then you decorate it however you want. And I was looking at some of the designs, and again, go to our website. There's YouTube videos that we've posted with this episode and photos, and it's great. So you don't want to put walls up because that's like a sail,
sure,
right? That's going to slow you down.
Yeah.
And then also, the rules are very specific. No political statements.
Yep.
Don't want to ruin a 4th of July parade by promoting or demeaning somebody.
It's all for fun.
It's for fun. And so a lot of it is like local businesses like the donut shop or the bakery or the bar or something, and just great, silly fun. And it's just how fast can you run pushing. And Cam was so explicit about, he called it like the push-pull paradigm, and it makes sense because a road has a crown, right? If you're in the middle lane, you're gold, right? Just push straight, go. But only one outhouse is going to be in the middle lane. Otherwise, you have to deal with the crown. I know someone, by the way, who ran the Boston Marathon, coming up, by the way, very soon. And he was telling me, he's like, one of his feet was just blown out after the race, and he realized he pulled a total rookie mistake. He ran on one side of the road. So one foot is always coming down a slightly lower than the other. So like if you're running on the right side of the road, your right foot is coming down a little lower than your left foot. So you got to keep switching sides.
That makes sense.
To even it out. And
Yeah.
I mean, you do 26.2 miles in one pattern.
Yeah.
Your body's going to revolt. And so he hurt himself by not switching it up. And so I was like, oh, that makes sense. And if you're trying to pull something that's, you know those caster wheels, you see them on like pallets or whatever, like they're hard to control.
They're wobbly.
Yeah.
And they're almost like a grocery store.
Right.
But those are a little smaller, but they still wobble the way a grocery store shopping cart wobbles.
Right. And so imagine you're trying to and so Cam's like, okay, you have to, this is what practice comes in. You need a strong pusher from behind, but you need a puller who's going to steer.
Yeah.
Some people make the mistake, we'll both push. And then the second it goes off course, your race is over, right? You're done. And that's that.
Yeah.
I love that so much thought goes into it.
Yeah.
That you're watching the other teams. You want to get better. You want to come back and compete. And it was like that in the early 1980s. And it's still like that today. And,
fun.
And here we are still talking about it. Awesome fun. And, I mean, kind of makes you want to go to Bristol on 4th of July.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Cool. Well, hey, until next time, remember.
The bazaar is closer than you think.